Happy Sunday, everybody. This is Zach said it again. I'm your host, Zach Cooley, and it is an honor and a privilege for me to be on the phone with one of my dearest friends in the world, one of my all-time favorite human beings, Mr. Will Hensley. He is the scorekeeper at Coffee Park with the Pulaski River Turtles, and that's partly what we're going to discuss today. Thank you so much for being with me, Will.
Thank you very much for having me, Zach. I share the sentiment. You're one of my favorite people as well.
Well, and I'm glad that we mentioned that up first thing, because that's what I want. That's what I want to lead off with. I want to lead off with how we know each other. Now, you think, when you read what I wrote in that article, you think I'm blowing smoke up your behind. But the truth is, I'm telling the honest to God truth that you are one of the people in high school that you are somebody that I looked up to, and because you were just so naturally cool, so naturally confident, but you were also so naturally generous and kind and genuine. Because I'm going to say, and you probably are going to think of the same people that I'm thinking of when I say this, but most people when I was in high school were very, very kind to me. But you've got those, because I am, the disabled one, the one in the wheelchair. You've got those that have got to make themselves look good by, look, I'm going to be nice to this guy in the wheelchair. You know the kind of people I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
So when you get somebody that had as much genuine spirit as you had, and it was as kind to me as you've always been, it's like, that is the kind of person that I want to be my friend. And having been friends with you for so many years, and then to see you again at the park, it's like, the older you get, it's like, sometimes you kind of feel like, for the sake of this not being a poor, pitiful me episode, sometimes you kind of feel like that you're kind of forgotten about, and then you run into people like you, and it's like, that is the guy I need to be hanging out with. I need to make more of an effort to see that I'm spending time with these kind of people, positive people. So that, to me, is what your friendship represents to me. How would you sum up our friendship?
Well, one thing that I take a lot of pride in is I don't change around people. I've always said
Amen.
that I will be the same to, a person walking down the street, to the same as the President of the United States.
You bet.
I'm the same person no matter who I'm talking to.
Amen.
And I enjoy people I enjoy talking, and I enjoy people. I enjoy being around people. I've always been at my best whenever I've not so much put on a show, but whenever I have a group of people that I'm able to, play off of, be around, and just, like you said, genuinely good people.
Yeah.
You're just a stand-up individual. I mean, you're all the way up to your family's just stand-up individuals. Everybody that I've ever come in contact that has been with Zach Cooley has just been a genuine stand-up great person. And I always enjoyed our interactions. I always enjoyed being around you because, you're not just the guy in the wheelchair. You're a very, very, very good human being. And that, to me, that's all that matters, is as long as you're a good human being, I want to be around you. So that to me is what I would consider, our friendship, or any friendship in general, is just, if you're a good person and I like being around you, I'm going to want to be around you.
And the thing that we've got in common is I'm also the same. I'm the same as I was 20 years ago when we first met each other. I will, and I'm the same to, as you said, whether I'm talking to somebody on the street or the President of the United States, I will be the same person. And I think that's what we have in common, and I think that's why we click so well. We would meet each other in the hall, and you would be going, Zach Cooley is the man, and I would be, no, Will Hensley is the man. You are the man. So we would have this. We would boost each other up, meeting each other in the hallway at Georgia with. I'll never forget that. But our connection now is baseball through your job at Pulaski Park. Can you tell me a little bit about, because you have some history in sports at Georgia with, can you tell me about growing up here and getting involved in baseball?
With baseball, I've been involved in baseball since kindergarten. I wasn't good at basketball. I'd get too excited. Football, I didn't like to get hurt. So baseball to me just seemed natural. You know, I wasn't, you know, an all-state, all-district. I wasn't, you know, and I didn't even start my junior and senior years. But, you know, I always loved it. And it was always something that I, you know, wanted to know more about, wanted to learn the history of, wanted to just be around. My sophomore year, I actually was at Fort Chiswell. My grandpa got sick, and I had to move in with him to help take care of him. And was playing baseball. They put me at first base, and I never played first base before, and I'm left-handed, and I'm a visual learner, so, you know, right-handed people would try to teach me, you know, where to stand, how to catch, you know, and I couldn't get it. One day in practice, we were having an open competition to see, you know, who would be the starting first baseman for the rest of the season. And our coach hit a line drive, and I tried to catch it, and it hit me in the thumb of my throwing hand, broke my thumb, put me out for the season. So instead of, you know, sitting there not doing anything, I wanted to learn how to keep stats, how to keep the book. So I did that my sophomore year, the remainder of the season, and I, you know, continued to, you know, keep up with it. And the last year that the Yankees were in Pulaski, when it was the original Appalachian League, the scoring position came up. And I called everybody I knew that had any ties to Sheeler, any ties to the ballpark, and I said, you know, this position it should be mine. I had my interview. Her name was Betsy Hall, the general manager at the time. I think she's moved on to soccer somewhere. I'm not 100% sure where she's moved on. Great girl. She knew her sports, and I went in there and I looked her in the eye and I said, I've forgotten more baseball than most people know. And she said, you have the job. And once I got the job, I told them, I said, I'm either going to have to die or you're going to have to pry this job away from me. I'm going to be there as long as I can.
So you answered the next question, because I love the story of how you got the job as a scorekeeper. And I guess this next one is kind of a no-brainer. Is working at Pulaski Park and for the Pulaski River Turtles as fun as it looks?
It is. I mean, it's a stand-up organization all the way from the owner down to the guys emptying the trash cans. I mean, they're a stand-up organization. It's went through a couple managers since, you know, Betsy had left. I'm now with J.W. Martin, who's the general manager there, and he works his tail off. I mean, I think he said the other day he runs about 8 to 9 miles a day every day at the ballpark, and you know, we try to tell him, you know, he's off, you know, everything's running good, but you can't tell him nothing. He's going to do what he wants to do. But, I mean, the press box, which is where I'm at, I'm basically, at this point, a press box manager. I basically take control of the lower part of the press box, the guys that run the track man and the opposing teams, radio guys, you know, making sure everybody's set, everybody's got everything that they need. You know, even little things of, you know, getting the internet password so everything runs smoothly. My job is to make sure that JW doesn't have to worry about what goes on up there. and we have a great time. Ryan Wilkes, who's the voice of the River Turtles, has been there for this is his second year, and we have a really, really close relationship. We talk to each other about every night about how the team's doing. Some of the guys that I've, dealt with since the very beginning, I still have relationships with them, still talk to them weekly, if not daily. And to me, it's the best job in the world. I would love to have my real job be, an official scorer for a major league team. It's just, me and my wife don't kind of want to move away from the family. So.
Yeah. And you live in Whitfield?
No, we live in Pulaski. I actually live about 5 minutes from the ballpark.
Okay.
So it's very convenient. I work in my real job's in Blacksburg, so I get off about 4, come home, change my clothes, and head straight to the ballpark. And I'm there from 5 to whenever they throw the last pitch.
Cool. So you work at a bank in Blacksburg, right?
Yes, sir. I do real estate. Basically, if somebody buys a house, the loan officers get the loan together, and I put it on our, online system to make sure that, it's billed correctly, because one thing a bank wants is to make sure everything's paid on time. So, and everything's paid correctly. So I'm the one that every real estate loan that goes through the entire bank, I make sure it's correct.
And you have your wife, Marissa. You're getting ready to celebrate 5 years and go on a cruise, you say?
Yeah. I'm always at the ballpark for our anniversary. It's June 23rd. So usually I'm at the ballpark. And a good story about I think it was our first anniversary. We were at the ballpark, and shortstop for the Bluefield, I think he swung a bat, and it actually went into the stands and bounced and went straight to my wife on our anniversary, and we got him to sign it, and he wrote happy anniversary on it. So we have a bat from, a major, he's actually still, I think, in the major leagues. I don't know if he's made the major league team, but he's still in the system. But we got a nice little anniversary gift one year.
Awesome. And Calfee Park is a place for magical things, because you can't tell it by looking at me, I know, but I was never the athletic type. But I went with a friend. Stephen Quinn took me in 2016 to Calfee Park when it was still the Pulaski Rangers, and I loved it so much I brought back my wife and daughter. Bella was 2 years old at the time, and they had the cheerleaders there, and the cheerleaders were there shaking their pom-poms in front of her. And as soon as they went away, she started crying. And I said, "What's the matter, baby?" And she said, "Ball." She wanted them to stay with she wanted the pom-poms to stay there with her. And then a few minutes later, here comes Calfee, and we kept saying, "What does a cow say?" And we were working with her, what different animals say, and she didn't know. And Calfee's not supposed to talk, but he went moo, and so she all the way home she was going moo, moo. Cow says moo. So I will never forget, things like that. Every time that I'm there, something magical happens, and that was. And nothing, 2 years ago she got the strikeout slider. That was a really big deal for her. She wants to do it again sometime. I'm sure she will. But the biggest thing that ever happened to us is that my wife got the chance to do the national anthem, and you can tell this story better than I can. You want to explain how she actually got in, because somebody was listed as teacher and nobody knew who teacher was. So,
yeah, Melissa's usually on top of things. Melissa, I consider her the assistant general manager.
Right.
The assistant general manager, that's what I call her. She's the number 2, I say. But she comes or she texts me and she says, hey, we might need, Emily to sing, is there any way that they could be there a little bit earlier? And I was like, I'll see what I can do. And I said, so what, I got to the ballpark and I said, what's the deal? And she said, well, I wrote down on the schedule teacher, and I don't know what teacher that's going to be. So somebody might show up at 6:30 and somebody might not. And to be honest, I'm glad they didn't, because, Emily knocked it out of the park. Just forgive the pun, but she so far, she has been the best national anthem we've had down there. And I'm not saying that because I'm talking to you. I'm saying it because it's the truth.
Well, and I'm saying it because it's the truth, too. I don't think you're going to have anybody better, because I tell her, I said, hey, I've been married to you for 15 years, but I've been a critic for 18 years, so I'm going to tell you the truth. And you, that's exactly the way I put it. You knocked it out of the park. And because she has this very soulful voice, and the only thing I can compare it to, and it's two very different things, and I know everybody has seen. I remember being 6 years old when Whitney Houston did the national anthem for the Super Bowl, and that was just like otherworldly, and that is how and Emily's done the national anthem for the Memorial Day celebrations here in town before Jackie King passed away. Jackie used to get her to do it. She's done it for the honor flights. It's sponsored by the Sheriff's Department, and she loves doing it. And always, it will give you chills, and it will bring you to tears. And that was nothing short of what happened to me when I heard her on Tuesday night. And to put the cherry on top of everything, my baby girl got to say play ball, which she was rehearsing that. She said, how do I say it? Do I say it real soft, play ball, or do I say it loud, play ball? And I said, you got to say it with enthusiasm, play ball. And she said, oh, but there's so many people out there. I said, well, you just say it however you. She tried it about 10 different ways, and she went down, and when she did it, it was perfect. So she got it. I never knew so much work went into two words, but hey, they are what do they say? The two most immortal words in the whole realm of baseball. So she's got to do them right.
No, yeah, she it was got the team going, that's for sure.
She did. And I'll tell you, with one thing, I took a video of it because I didn't know if she was going to be up on the big screen. Thank God she wasn't, because my unsteady cerebral palsy hands could not hold it up there. But you do catch a glimpse in my video of the players standing there while she's belting it out, and they're standing there at attention with their hats over their hearts. And it's very heavy to witness something like that and think that that's your wife up there doing that. It's an emotional experience. For the sake of sounding too dramatic, very proud, very heart, very full. So thank you for making that happen. She had a great time doing it. She wants to do it again as often as she's able, so keep her on the short list. We can be there in 30 minutes if we have to be.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about baseball, I want to mention an old Whitfield boy that's on the team. He's not on the team right now. He's on the roster, but he's not on the team right now because he's doing the Collegiate World Series with UVA, and that's Mr. Avery Mabe. Will Avery get to play this season, or?
I believe so. I think it's I think it all depends on how far that they get in the World Series. Because the season this year is actually kind of not really shortened, but they've kind of packed it all into 2 months. So it'll end at the end of July rather than kind of go with the first 2 weeks in August like we usually do. They've kind of got it all compact into June and July. So we're hoping he gets to come back. He gets a well of a lot of claps, well of a lot of applause. They cheer for him more than anybody on the team as they did last year when he was on the team last year. But it's like I said, you know, if you got the opportunity to go to Omaha, or if you got the opportunity to go to Pulaski, I mean, no disrespect to Pulaski, I love it, but I mean, Omaha is a once in a lifetime opportunity,
right?
And I mean, I would stay there as long as they'd let me.
And Avery, I've not met Avery in person. I have interviewed him for the podcast last year. I did not get to go see him play, unfortunately, last year. So, too many things happened, and just couldn't get down there. But look forward to meeting Avery, hopefully. He's certainly done his hometown proud, and I hope I get to see him play. I know his family very well. So,
yeah, he was a little bit younger than me.
Yeah.
Meet him till last year as well. Just kind of in passing, you know, hey, we both went to the same high school. Nice to meet you. And, and that's about all that I really got to see of him. But I'm hoping
I'd like to get a picture with him and Bella anyway. I think that'd be cool. You know, but yeah, he was born my sophomore year, so either he's just a young whippersnapper or I'm an old man. I don't know which way you want to go with that, but.
Well, I tell you, buddy, me and you both are getting kind of old.
Yeah, I'm telling you, but to look as good as we do, I think we're doing all right.
You daggone right. You daggone right. We ain't lost none of that.
That's it. That's it. When you got it, you got it. So because I've known you 20 years, you know, we've been buddies all these years, but I just found out recently that one of your favorites of all time is my number one favorite of all time. That's Mr. Phil Collins. How long have you been into Phil, bro?
Phil and Genesis and just his solo career. I mean, I love to hear that, and it just blows you away the first time you hear it.
So you were listening to him as a kid, so we could have been talking about this in high school, and I never even knew it.
Yeah, my dad was real big. One of my dad's favorite bands is Heart, and he's real big in the 70s and 80s. And
I've seen Heart too. They are awesome. I mean, Ann Wilson's voice. That is one of the things that you have to hear to believe. They sound way better live. I mean, it's almost like a gospel spiritual thing to hear that woman sing the way she belts it out. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything like that, you know, Fleetwood Mac, you know, any of those. I'm big on, you know, hard female singers, and I'm big on drums. And and saxophone, you know, I'm huge on old school, you know, 70s and 80s music, and Phil is one of the best, if not the best. I mean, he just blows you away every time. I mean, every single song on every. I mean, my brother actually got me a copy. My brother-in-law actually got me a copy of original copy of Face Value, the LP. You know, in the original plastic for Christmas. I don't have a record player, but
yeah,
you know,
I don't either. But I got it for $2 I was in San Francisco, and I went to Heighton Asbury to this famous record place, and I found Face Value for $2, and I bought it and left it on the plane coming home. I was sick, absolutely sick. But Face Value is one of the greatest albums of all time. Every song is a winner, and I'm totally like you. Everybody loves the drum solo, but his horn section, the Earth, Wind, and Fire horn section, they really are what make his music so soulful, you know.
Yeah.
And when I had the opportunity to see him, when Emily and I got engaged, I spent all my money and more besides so that we could go to the Roseland Ballroom, which is no longer open, this big historical place where Ella Fitzgerald used to play, to see him do a Motown show with the original Funk Brothers. And that's where I proposed to Emily 13 years ago.
Oh man, that's in.
He comes back out. You know, he's not able to play the drums anymore. He's got vertebrae problems where he's played for so many years. But he comes back out solo, and we go to D.C. to see him because that's the closest he's coming. I think I'm never going to get another shot at this. So we go to see him in D.C. and he's sitting in a chair, and his son's playing drums, but he still knocks us out of our socks. Me and my wife both. And so then he comes to Charlotte. So, you know, if he's coming that close, you know, I got to go again. So we go again, and we do Charlotte. And then 2 years later, the unthinkable happens. He's back with Genesis. And I said, I don't care what it costs, because Bella being properly brainwashed, Genesis is her favorite band. So I said, whatever it takes. So suffice it to say, it took 2 house payments, but we got there, and it was one of the most glorious moments of my life. And had I known that you were that big a fan, I would have seen that you got a ticket too.
Well, yeah, there's two bands that I wish I would have been able to see in person. One of them would have been Genesis, and the other, I mean, he's not really a band, but I mean, I would have loved to see Elvis live too.
But if I had known, because I had an extra ticket, and if I had known, I would have. I mean, I had another great fan of Phil that didn't think she was going to get to go, that I was actually able to give the ticket to. But if I had known you were that big a fan, I would have made sure you had a ticket too, because that would have been a great thing to share together. But I know Chris Cross is your favorite. Did you have a chance to see him?
I got to see Christopher Cross in the in Rocky Mount at the Harvester. I gotten a new car, and on Sirius XM, we don't pay for Sirius XM. I got a free trial, but I listened to The Bridge over and over again, and Christopher Cross kept coming up, and I was like, man, this is just so nice. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed it, because I never heard him as a kid. And so once I, really started to get into him, I listened to every album he had. I mean, it's all saved on my favorites. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of looking, one day at work, I said, is Christopher Cross going on the tour? And lo and behold, he's in Little Rocky Mount, Virginia. And I said, we're going. Yeah. And I mean, he played the entire first album. I mean, that album swept the Grammys that year. Right. And it literally just was, it was phenomenal. It was I didn't go to many concerts as a kid. Since marrying my wife, we've gotten to go to a good bit here in the last while, but it was the best. I mean, nobody stood, everybody's class. It was just, very easy, very nice, but I mean, it was phenomenal, and he sounds just as good as he did back in the 80s. And that's exactly what I say about Phil. It doesn't matter if he can't stand for long periods of time. I can't stand for long periods of time either. But if I could sing like that, it would not matter. It would not matter. No. As long as he can sing like that, I don't care what kind of shape he's in. People will come to see him. And if he ever decides to do it again, I'm not even gonna tell you. As soon as I find out, I'm getting enough tickets for all of us to go, and I'm saying, this is the date. We'll be there. We're going. So I wouldn't. I'll be there with bells on. Yep. I wouldn't let it pass you by. And I did not know till I posted the picture, which is now my forever profile picture, me and Bella with the Genesis masks on. And I said, we're here. And you said jealous. And I thought, oh, he's a fan. I should have. Yeah. And ever since then, I said, I wish I could have gotten Will a ticket, because it would have been so great to have him there. So, but if we ever get another shot, we're doing it together for sure. That sounds like a plan, bro. That sounds like a plan. Well,
I thank you so much for doing this. I hope you've had as much fun as I have had. You promised to take my listeners into the stratosphere. I expect to see real high numbers from this when it goes up. But it's always great to talk to you, man. You lift my spirits more than you know, and I hope that we have a chance to hang out other than just at the ballpark from time to time.
Well, you got an open invitation to that. I mean, I live in Pulaski. Y'all can come down here, and whenever I'm in Whitfield, I don't get to Whitfield as much as I want to anymore. But you know, when I do, and I got a little bit of time, I will definitely swing by your way.
You bet. And I got to tell you, the sweetest thing. It was so cute. Bella said. She just said, you know, Will's been so nice to us, and he's such a nice guy. She said, if I was your old age, I'd marry him. And I said, well, you maintain high ideals like that, you'll be in good shape. I don't have to worry about you. So.
Well, I dearly, dearly appreciate that. That's very, very sweet.
I knew you would. You can't. Bella love is the greatest kind of love to have. I can tell you from personal experience. It don't get any better than that.
Oh, I bet.
So, thank you for everything always, Will. I'm honored and proud to call you my friend. I love you, buddy, and I hope that we have many, many more great memories ahead of us.
As many as we can afford to bear, brother. I love you as well, and like you said, you know, let's make some more of them memories, huh?
You bet. All right, thank you so much, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, bye.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so